Guatemala. All right, I'm Sam the Man here with Distracted Muhammad the Machine and
Yo.
Amazing Aaron in the booth. I use that term
What
kind of
up?
loosely. All right, today we're going to talk about sports. We're going to talk about sports, and that's all right. It's all right.
All right. What do you want to start off with today?
I want to
Sam?
start off with college football because it's the greatest, most competitive sport out there, and that is a fact, especially after watching the Iron Bowl. Who saw the Iron Bowl?
No.
Would you have kicked the field goal? You didn't watch it?
No. I've heard of it. Haven't watched it.
You didn't watch it. The Auburn-Alabama game. It's called
No.
the Iron Bowl. So he didn't watch it. I'll explain it to him a little bit because apparently he lives under a rock. With 1 second to go, a second, mind you, that Alabama fought for, the Alabama, who missed 3 field goals prior in the game, decided to try and kick a 56-yard field goal. They missed it and came up so short that Auburn was able to field it, catch it, and with no time left on the clock, run it all the way back for a touchdown, in which case they won. That was probably the greatest Iron Bowl ever. And it just raises extra questions of whether or not they should jump Ohio State in the rankings. Ohio State, of course, also had a close game against a Michigan team, which really isn't that good, and they should have beat by a lot. But it came down to an extra point after touchdown. It was 42-41 the score, and Michigan decided to go for 2 on the last one. They didn't get it, and that's why they lost. Do you feel that they should be jumped? I mean, Ohio State really hasn't played anybody this year.
I don't feel like they should be jumped yet.
I mean, Auburn has lost 1 game. Ohio State hasn't lost yet this year, but they really haven't played anyone. What I'm going to look for is if Ohio State can decidingly beat Michigan State, which I don't think can happen because Michigan State's defense is off the charts. But if they can do that,
You're always going on about them, Sam, so I expect them to be a good defensive team.
Michigan State, I'm never going on about them. So.
Always. Ladies and gentlemen, I hang out with Sam on and off the show.
I don't allow him to hang out with me, guys. It's kind of awkward. He's not in my clique. It's okay.
Oh.
So,
Click.
wow. I don't think they can because Michigan State's defense is really up there, and I don't think Ohio State's. I mean, Ohio State's defense really doesn't have to do too much to stop Michigan State, other than really stopping their run. If you stop their run, you stop them. But I just think that Michigan State's defense is too much, especially for a semi-inexperienced Braxton Miller who can have the tendency to be impulsive and throw the ball into coverage. I think that they're going to have a field day, and I think it's going to be a close game. I still think Ohio State wins, but then I think there's going to be a tons of turmoil of whether or not to put in Auburn. Any more to add? Or
No, I like listening to you when it comes to college football. Now on to NBA. So shockingly yesterday, a team to watch out for in the West. Not only the Spurs, but I'd look at the Trailblazers too.
Yes, he just likes to copy Bill Simmons.
Oh my God! So the Trailblazers.
Do you have any thoughts of your own, or do you just?
No, these are thoughts of my own.
or
Yesterday
do
they
you
beat Indiana, your team.
Or do you just?
They beat the Pacers yesterday.
Do you just? I mean, look up.
With 2, I'm not gonna say superstar. I'm gonna say stars. In LaMarcus Aldridge, he's been doing great this season so
good,
far.
Yes.
Great. Yesterday, what was he? 28 and 10.
Great.
He's been doing really well this season, and along with Damian Lillard, who won Rookie of the Year last year, he's showing that he's still amazing this year. He's still doing pretty well this year.
He's not a superstar yet.
No,
He's
I'm
good.
not gonna say
He's not a
superstar. I'm not gonna say
superstar
superstar,
yet.
but I'm saying they're close. Maybe Damian Lillard is getting to be a star, and I think LaMarcus is really close on to being a star.
But see, I think that they have the lack of depth, whereas they look good now, and they probably will make a playoff because of the run that they're doing right now.
Yeah.
But when it comes into the heat of the season, late into the stretch, I think that they're going to wind up dropping to maybe 4 or 5 because of the lack of depth on their team. Just like we saw some young teams last year do.
We'll see what happens. I mean, and Portland has had a terrible past. When it comes to when they have great players, their players are usually injury prone. But they've made some adjustments in their medical staff and all that. So I feel like their players will be healthy.
Yeah, I do still think that Indiana. I mean, we have to remember the Bulls in '96 also lost 10 games. I mean, just because Indiana, just because Indiana's only going to lose 6 doesn't mean.
Oh my Sam. I'm not gonna say they're gonna be the greatest team ever.
I think they could be.
The greatest team ever?
Why not? They have a great coach. They have great depth. They have great personnel for starting wise. They look like that they could. This is a magical year for them. It looks like they could be that team, and it'll only come with wins. I'm not going to make that statement if they don't have a better record than the Bulls. But if they wind up having a better record than the Bulls, I'll make that statement every single day of the week.
They are a really great defensive team, and they're not struggle.
Great defensive team.
Like the Bulls before were also a great defensive team, but they always struggled offensively. The Pacers really don't. They have so many options to go to. They can go to Stevenson. They can go to Paul George, Roy Hibbert, David West. They have so many options.
They're just
they have so many ways
a very
to hurt
good
you.
team. And their defensive anchor, Roy Hibbert, is just a monster.
7-2. I think this season, by far, I think he's going to lead the league in blocks and possibly get Defensive Player of the Year. But I'm not.
Now, he's been in the league for a little while.
A couple years.
Do you think that at the end of his career, I mean, it's kind of early to determine this, but do you think after all said and done, do you think that he could be a Hall of Famer?
Roy Hibbert?
Roy Hibbert.
If he keeps up what he's doing, if he stays healthy, I don't see why not.
I think he's 26 right now.
He's not even in his prime yet either.
He's not even in his prime yet. I mean, I think that he has a great potential to be right now, I feel he's the best center in the
NBA. I agree with that, yeah.
I believe he's the best center in the league, and I think it's going to stay that way for some time until somebody's going to have to knock him off. And I think that he has the attitude and
but he's beaten in some categories, like offensively, for example.
Offensively, yes. Brook Lopez is only an offensive player, though, and I don't think that he's too intimidating of a center. I think that
defensively he's decent. He can block shots. He's averaged. He's averaged 2 blocks a game, 2-point-something blocks.
But I think that Roy Hibbert has the attitude and the mentality that he's not going to get off the top. You're going to have to get him off the top, and I think that that's going to keep him going, and that's one of the reasons why he's going to stay so good for so long.
And the thing with Roy Hibbert is, now during the regular season, I look at him, he's not doing as much as I expected. Sometimes I feel that way, but then in the playoff, it doesn't matter what he does in the regular season, because in the playoffs is when he steps up his game. That's when he looks like a bona fide superstar. Like, he looks amazing.
You know what? He did do good in the regular season last year. Just nobody paid attention to him. Yeah, because nobody wanted to show Indiana last year. I mean,
until he spoke up in the playoffs and people saw how unstoppable he was against Miami.
Exactly. He spoke up. I forget what the exact quote was, but they didn't.
None of you MFers watch their games.
They didn't put him. But that was
the quote. Okay. He was fine.
None of you bleepers. That's what you should say. Okay, right. But anyway, but it was because they didn't put him in the top 50 or something, right? I mean,
he finished because they told him they were like, "Oh, you realize you finished 7th in the polls for Defensive Player of the Year," and he looked at them. He was really angry. He was like, "Well, that's because
he should be. He definitely. I think this year is his year to win it."
We'll see about that.
3.4 blocks per game, 9.1 rebounds, 12.
He can do better rebounding, but we'll see how that goes.
I mean. He also has
you're
two.
7'2".
But he also has 2 other studs rebounding.
Well, there's David West, and who else are you looking at? They have
David
Scola,
West,
they have Copeland.
Stevenson.
Stevenson is doing pretty well all around, though, so far. I don't know how many triple doubles he's gotten so far.
And what's his name? Scola.
Yeah,
you said Scola?
Yeah.
No, maybe you just need to speak up.
And
this is a radio show. They can't.
Who else are we looking at? Rondo's been cleared to play. The Knicks, though,
I don't know about
the Atlantic Division just looks totally disgraceful this season.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, they look really bad.
Now, everyone expected Philly to be one of the worst teams in the NBA, but as of right now, they're top 2 in the Atlantic Division.
Yeah, but that's not saying much considering the fact that they
only have to win like 30 games by the end.
How could they be top 2? It says in the playoffs, like in the standings, that they're.
No, top 2 in the division, not conference.
I know, and they're top 3. They're actually number 3 in there. That's awkward.
Isn't
awkward?
Aren't the Raptors ahead of them?
Toronto and Boston.
They're the worst 2?
They're top 2.
Boston.
Toronto and Boston.
Oh, my Celtics.
Yeah, but not one team in that division
is positive.
Has a winning record.
Yeah.
And the saddest team is the Knicks right now. I mean.
But
so
again,
much potential.
You have to look. Carmelo is giving it his best.
Carmelo's giving it his best. They need to take Bargnani out. They need to take Bargnani out. They need to.
It's not that by itself, too. You have to keep in mind that Tyson Chandler isn't in, and he's their defensive anchor. He gives them a presence defensively. He clogs up the lanes.
The East as a whole is not doing too well.
I know.
I
think the Pacers and the Heat are the only two positive teams.
Yeah, and then there's one 500 team, and all the rest are stinking up the joint.
Milwaukee is doing terrible, though.
They have the same record as the Knicks. But you know what I think is one of the most disgraceful things I've seen in a while was Jason Kidd telling Tyshawn Taylor to hit him. I mean, that's
Come on, it wasn't disgraceful.
That is disgraceful. I mean, it's like that stupid thing with the review. They get a free timeout. I mean, come on now.
This is his first year as a coach.
It takes the strategy out of the timeouts. You take the strategy out of it because now what's the point in saving yours to the end if you get a free one every time they have to check?
They had no more timeouts.
Exactly. What's the point in saving them to the end? What is the point in saving them to the end if you get a free timeout every time they have to review a play?
Not if you get fined for it. He ended up getting fined $50,000.
Oh, obviously. I mean, I'm saying, like, I'm talking about in general, not only when they have to clean up messes like that, they get a timeout. I'm talking about also when they have to review a play. That's a free timeout for both teams.
True.
And that happens pretty often. I mean, I don't think it should be that way. Or somebody should have to challenge and one team should get charged with a timeout. Or they shouldn't be able to challenge if they don't have any timeouts.
I like it the way it is. I'm not gonna complain. And look, no coach is gonna end up doing it anymore after seeing what happened to Jason Kidd. Like, he was blown up all over YouTube, over the news. I mean, like, coaches are not gonna want to bring that attention to themselves and to
obviously
the teams.
Nobody's gonna do that. But I'm talking about the reviewing right now. I'm past that point because that was just a stupid move. I'm talking about the whole idea of the fact that they can review. No team gets charged with the timeout, and I feel like you should have to challenge that. The emphasis should be on the coach.
What's an official timeout? I feel like it's good like this just because.
Why? But I mean, it is like an official timeout. They have enough time to draw a play, come up with a new strategy.
Which is what they do. They do it during. Yeah, they all do it. But the thing is, like, you don't want to get a wrong call, so the officials need to take their time. You don't want to take a timeout away from the team.
You should make the emphasis on the coaches, like the NFL does it, like the NCAA coaches, like the NCAA does it. Put the emphasis on the coaches. Make them have to make that decision. Make them think in their mind, weigh the consequences / rewards. Because if you just give them a free review, then what's really going on? It's not
always a free review. Like, there are a couple of plays that we've seen in the playoffs, the end of games, and regular season. It doesn't matter, where there's a call that affects the entire game, and they need time to review that.
I think that it should be up to the coach.
Well, all coaches are going to end up saying review it.
What do you mean?
All coaches are going to end up telling, they're always pushing for extra timeouts anyways towards the end of games.
It's like, no. I'm saying, like, you know how in the NFL you challenge a play,
yes,
and if you're wrong, you get charged with a timeout, and if you're right,
but
you get
in the
NBA,
NBA, usually towards the end of games, they don't have timeouts to give, though.
That's my point. They don't save them to the end because they know something's going to be reviewed or something's going to happen.
No, that's not complete. If you look at the coaching, depends. Like the Vogel for the Pacers, Doc Rivers, they always save a couple of 20-second timeouts for the end of the game. They always save at least, one or two of them. But
I just don't like it. It just doesn't. The free timeouts. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, but another thing we have to look out for is
I don't have to look out for anything.
Well, the East isn't doing as well as I anticipated. Like, you look at the Wizards.
I mean, come on, we were pumping it up. We're like East, and then look they fall flat on their face.
But we still have Indiana being arguably the best team in the NBA right now.
And arguably the best team ever.
Well, right now Spurs are doing pretty well. Tim Duncan showed that he still had it. I figured his stats yesterday.
But like,
he did amazing. Hit a game-winning jump shot. But he still got, like, in the playoffs, people forgot his age. He looked like he was young again. Tim Duncan is still, I wouldn't count them out to go back to the finals
again. I like Tony
again.
Parker. I think Tony Parker is
still kind of young too. He's 31 right now.
He's the same age as Wade.
But he's a lot more durable. I prefer Tony Parker right now any day of the week over D Wade.
Oh, of course.
To D Wade.
I mean, Tony Parker. It's just like,
you can't say enough about him though.
He's a great player.
You can already tell he
should have gotten some votes for the MVP last year.
He did. He was top 5. I think towards the end.
It was almost anonymous. I mean, almost anonymous. Almost unanimous. The only person to get another vote was
KD, right?
No, Carmelo. Because, and this is another interesting argument that just makes a lot of sense, and I like the guy who picked this for this reason. He said, it's the MVP. It's not the best player. You take LeBron away from the Heat, they're still gonna do well. They're still gonna be a
gonna
playoff
make
game.
the playoffs.
You
Yeah.
take Carmelo Anthony away from the Knicks, and what's gonna happen? Last year they would not have done the things that they did without Carmelo Anthony. That's
True.
why he should have gotten the MVP. He was most valuable to his team.
And there are other people too. Like right now, whether people look at it or not, Rondo is gonna be up there in the MVP talk. He's been in the MVP
he's
talk
not gonna
recently.
be. Not this year.
You don't think so at all? He's cleared the play right now.
Yeah, but he's only gonna play part of the year, and his team's not gonna have success.
Oh no, I'm not saying this season. I'm saying what about next season? Will he be likely? No chance at all.
No, I don't think so because
you see how bad the Celtics are doing right now. But if you add him,
you know what's the one thing, the one intangible all MVPs have? Their team's success. And I just don't think Boston's gonna do that next year.
You don't think he's a game? You don't think he's a difference maker at all?
I think he's a difference maker for sure. He definitely is. I don't think he's gonna be a big difference maker next year.
He'll add at least. Give him this. He'll add at least 15 to 20 wins on his own.
15 to
20 wins on his own.
No, because he has nobody to pass it with, and his quickness is definitely gonna be hurt.
Derrick Rose's quickness. You said this about Derrick Rose. His quickness was not hurt. His athleticism was not hurt whatsoever.
His quickness was hurt in the fact
he increased.
No.
He was quicker than we've ever seen him before.
You know why? You know why it was hurt? Because he kept on pushing the envelope on his quickness, and eventually, you know what happened?
That's not what happened. He was putting too much pressure on the other leg because he was afraid. It was mental. He was afraid to lose the leg that he tore up.
Exactly.
So he overused it. Rondo is not going to be like that after seeing what happened.
You think Rondo's not going to be like that?
I doubt it.
Have you ever broken a leg? Have you ever broken an arm?
No.
I haven't either. But when you see somebody who has, they're scared to put pressure on that leg.
At first, yes.
Always. For the rest of their life, they're always.
They live with that little bit on them. Yeah, like that little.
I mean, even though it's actually that leg is probably going to be stronger because, of course, the advanced medical tactics that we have. One,
it's not as
and
good.
Two, because when it heals up, it gets a lot stronger.
Yeah.
But still, I think that he's definitely going to have. It's definitely going to be a thought right in the back of his mind.
It's going to be a thought at first, but I'm telling you.
At first, always.
I'm telling you, Rondo's different mentally than Derrick Rose is. He's mentally stronger than Derrick Rose.
It's just a human thing.
But Rondo will have what it takes to handle it.
It's a human
Rose is
thing.
mentally weak. Like he doesn't have what it takes to move on from stuff. Honestly, I mean that too. Like LeBron was a mentally weak superstar, but Derrick Rose is too. Rondo can handle it. I have faith in Rondo.
Rondo is phonier than a $3 bill.
You're gonna say this. You said it about Kevin Garnett. You're saying it about Rondo.
Mentally tough. He's gonna come back too soon, and then what's gonna happen?
He's not gonna come back too soon.
There's a difference.
He was out for months. He was out for like 6 months. There's a difference
between mentally tough and being stupid.
He was out before. He was out like
There's
when, May last year?
There's a difference between mentally tough and being stupid. If I were him, I would take this whole year off.
Not the whole year.
The whole year.
He's in his piece 27. He's still healing up from me. He's cleared to play. He's cleared to play, but he's not playing yet.
Hold on.
He might come back for Christmas.
So
if he has another month's rest, it won't be enough?
Whether they have him or not, do you think Boston's going to make the playoffs?
Yes. I still have faith in them to make the playoffs.
They're not going to make the playoffs.
You think they have no shot to
they're
make the playoffs whatsoever?
They're not going to make the playoffs.
I'm looking at maybe an 8th.
They're not making the playoffs.
What did you say last season? They weren't going to make the playoffs.
They're not going to make the playoffs.
Though?
What?
What happened?
I never said they weren't going to make the playoffs.
As soon as Rondo got injured, you said they weren't going to make the playoffs.
I never said that.
You said, and what happened
No,
afterwards?
because they had Cornette and
You
Pierce.
and everyone else said they were done.
They had Cornette and Pierce.
They went on a good 6 or 7 game winning streak.
What's different about this year?
They don't have Garnett and Pierce.
And what else don't they have? Rondo. Allen.
They don't. But right now they're managing. They're not doing that well, but they're doing.
You know what? I would say.
They're not getting blown out. Look at that though. They're not getting blown out.
I would say, what the hey, if he had some decent players, maybe his quickness wouldn't matter so much.
They have decent players. Jordan Crawford, Jeff Green, Avery Bradley. These are decent players.
They don't have the quality players of Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce to make up for his lack of quickness.
But they have younger people. Rondo, his whole career, he was always a one-man fast break. Always a one-man fast break.
And you think he's going to be as fast?
Speed and quickness are two different things. I think he'll have his speed. He'll have his speed, man.
He got a knee injury.
So did Rose, but he was quicker than we've ever seen him before.
You just said there's a difference between quickness and speed.
There is a difference.
What's the
difference? He was quicker and faster.
No, he wasn't.
He increased 5 inches on his vertical leap.
That has a ton to do with speed.
It has a ton to do with quickness, which you said he lost.
It has to do with explosiveness.
And it has to do with quickness.
Vertical?
Yes, it has to do with quickness too. Yes.
A vertical.
Yes.
A vertical jump.
Vertical jump has to do with quickness.
I can do it as slow as I want. It'll still be the same as if I do it fast.
If you have a running start, it'll be.
You don't get a running start when you do a vertical jump.
Yes, you. When you're running, yes, you have a running vertical jump.
That's a running vertical jump. That's not a vertical jump.
Oh my God, Sam! All right, he increased 5 inches on his running vertical jump.
Is that a true fact? If I looked that up.
Yes, it is a true. He's admitted to it. He's said it so many times. His doctors have even said it. Look it up right now and get proven wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, may I also remind you that he's said that Dwight Howard is a small. He's a smaller center. Said he was 6'10". He's not. He's 6'11".
Doesn't matter.
With shoes, he's 7 feet. People refer to him as a 7-footer consistently.
It says vertical leap.
Okay, then you just told me that. Okay, he increased 5 inches on his vertical leap. Admit it right now.
It says it right there.
Admit it. Admit that you were completely wrong.
I'm not.
He's wrong.
What about running vertical leap?
The information is right in front of him, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, the information that says nothing about his running vertical leap.
What about his vertical leap? Same thing. His vertical leap increased 5 inches. It's right in front of you. You're not admitting it.
I never said he never.
You just said prove it to me. You just said prove it to me.
I said prove that his running vertical.
No, you said
I said his running
you're
vertical.
You're wrong completely. It's right in front of you.
I said his running vertical.
But his vertical jump. His vertical jump by itself.
Actually, no. We'll go back in the tape, and I'm going to prove you wrong. Let's get off this because I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to prove you wrong. Because
I already proved you wrong, though. There's nothing left to say.
When we watch the tape, you're going to see me say that his running vertical didn't increase by 5 inches. I said his vertical might have.
You didn't say that. You said prove to me that it did.
I said prove to me that the running vertical did.
Sam, you just can't admit when I beat you in an argument, you can't admit to it.
Watch, you can look it up. He registered a no-step vertical of 34.5 inches and a max vertical of 40 inches.
So about 5.5.
5.5. And that is a no-step vertical. Not a running vertical.
People jump higher when they run.
I know I don't know much about this, but doesn't that mean the max?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be the running vertical?
No.
Because
the max after the injury. We'll go back in the tape and watch.
His athleticism improved after
Rajon Rondo is not. I would sit him out the entire year. Let's get back on topic. I would sit him out the entire year.
Now, I wouldn't see a problem with sitting out for the entire year. I really wouldn't see a problem with it at all.
Why?
Because your team's already doing bad. You're going to put too much stress on him. I see both sides. Like, if you put him in for the second half of the season. Why not?
No,
either from Christmas or after All-Star Weekend.
Don't put him in at all.
Look what happened to Rose, though. You didn't put him back, and the entire beginning of the season, he had to bust his butt trying to get back to the tempo of the NBA game, and it didn't turn out well.
Have Rondo practice.
Rose was practicing. It didn't work out for him.
Rose was rehabbing.
He was practicing from June till now. But he
practiced. No, I'm saying
Look this up right now. His shot improved with practice. Instead of shooting improved.
I'm gonna put my head
He
through this
practiced
wall.
so much.
I'm not even saying that. I'm saying have Rondo practice with the team during the season. That's the bell. That was the show. And I'm right.
You're wrong.
Watch when they put it up. I said